So we've got access to Rosslyn this morning. Let's try and do some work and go over some of the symbolism and, more importantly, the somatic patterns. Posted a picture up there last night and it was to do with some of these pylons. I don't know if I can zoom in on this properly or not. This here, where it leads up, it looks like either triangle or sawtooth patterns. And then pylons all around the outside. There's 33 of them. So I imagine they're probably to do with the 33 bones in the spine and ascension. So this entire place is based on exactly that. So let's go into the chapel and have a look around. So it said the chapel was built in 1446 by William St. Clair. He would go on to die in 1484. It's the same year that supposedly the legendary founder of the Rosicrucians also died the same year. So they're probably one and the same. So the Rosicrucians come from the Rose Cross, which comes from Rostow or Giza. That's the Master Mason pillar. And this one's the Apprentice pillar. I've got the dragon lines down at the bottom because the St. Clair's a Norseman. So everything inside this chapel is to do with everything that the Norsemen were doing. Hence why it's all the green man symbolism, all the flower patterns, all the somatic waves, all the roses, all the patterns on the ceiling. So this is where people have been working on the cubes, which aren't actually cube shaped, so it's a bit confusing for me. They're more rectangular. And then when you go over to this bit of the ceiling up here, they are actually cubes up there in sets of 2. And people also say that there's 215 cubes with one missing, but there's only 214, and that's counting the one that's missing as well. So I'm not too sure where the numbers come from on this one. In the centre of every one here, there's 35 cubes, which of course, if you stand underneath this and do the Aum of vibration, is exactly what that is. Aum equals 35, English ordinal gematria. The symbol of Aum looks like a 35. So that's why there's 35 cubes here, because they're shaping the reality through the Metatronic cube, basically. Which is where you'll see the geometry of the 12 circles around the 1, creating 13. But they're shaping their own reality. The healing chambers, frequencies, is exactly what they are. So they were kind of shaping their own reality in a way, using the cube, using what they use at Mecca now, that they call God, Yahweh, and everything else. It's all just one, really. So them sawtooth patterns that are just shown on the outside, they come through and link up with this, which of course looks like it's pushing the energy out. Or the green man symbolism. But it's all based on nature, so I keep saying in the work that I'm publishing. It's all based on nature, it's all based on creation. You go into every church, every cathedral, it's all creation. Same as you go into every church, every cathedral, and you find a lady chapel, and it's always aligned with the star Venus. That's always the same geometry in every single lady chapel you'll go into. It's not just wells, it's not just any particular one. And the 5-pointed star is a typical typical use for the Norseman as well. So up on the ceiling, there's 582 somatic patterns altogether, which is going to be linked to the solfeggio frequencies, more than likely anyway. This central bit here has got 96 roses on it. So that's the same as the Grand Lodge in London. It's got 96 petals, creating a mandala. Then the Grand Lodge of Scotland's on 96 George Street, or, you know, events like Hillsborough, remember the 96 and so on. Or Welsh Cathedral has 2 pylons standing in front of it with flower patterns equaling 96. And of course they're all frequencies. This window wasn't long putting up here. It's creating a mosque with the crescent moon. But if you look at the back of the chapel, if you go out through the back way of the chapel, you can see that it's actually shaped like a mosque anyway. So the Sinclairs have they've used every bit of knowledge they've had at their disposal. Some of the pylons, they look like they've got like Chinese temples on the top, and they're all individual. A good signal of it though is this on the 2 pillars. You can see the sawtooth waves coming up. So with the Greeks, they'd have Doric pillars or they'd have Ionic. And with the Ionic pillars is the clue with the iron. So it's whatever's in the stone in particular. I mean, this chapel's had a complete wash over it of cement, which has completely ruined it. So I'm not too sure why they decided to put cement all over it, apparently to preserve the chapel, but from what I can tell then, the current owner of the chapel shot himself in 1977 of all years. So it says a lot about where it went for him. He's probably devastated to see the chapel ruined in this way. So hopefully we can get some talks set up in here, a meeting with the administrator tomorrow morning. I am asking if we can get some talks set up. Hopefully if any of you do decide to come, you'll all be sat in the pews and we'll be able to go through everything to do with the Sinclairs, the Holy Grail, or the diamond symbolism. And one thing a lot of you might be familiar with my research in particular are them diamonds right there. The 3 diamonds of the Montagues. So this is, of course, that's the Sinclair coat of arms as well, or the Desmonds of Ireland, which is JFK's family. So the Desmonds or the diamonds is Daemons. That's what they are. The symbolism is Giza, as above, so below. And as I said, this is where all the Gnosticism really comes from, is the 2 last great Gnostic races being the Egyptians and then the Irish being the final ones, the serpents, that were pushed out by St. Patrick. So we're very lucky to get a chance to have the chapel to ourselves in the morning like this. So I'm trying to take advantage of it and get as much done as I can, but I thought I'd get a video done to show you around a little bit and waffle on and talk some rubbish about the place. Are you happy over there? It really is a special place. It's just a shame what they've done. And you can see all the details gone, but it's gone behind the cement that's actually over the top. They've said they've tried to remove the cement, but it's damaging the walls. Well, of course it's going to, isn't it? So there's not much they can do about it now, unless they find some magical technology to remove it with. But it's been done to control the frequencies of the place. Or to hold them down more than anything. But this is the bit that's really interesting me the most anyway, is this with the 35 patterns. So come this way to my light. With the 35 cubes coming up, or 35 rectangles, going right to the centre. And of course in the centre one we've got the 8-pointed star. It is on the floor and ceiling of Welsh Cathedral on the Lady Chapel. Shown on north, east, south, west. And this really interests me as well, this one down here. You recognise this symbol. This is similar to my coat of arms, this one as well. The 8-spoked wheel of eternity, but this is more based on geometry, obviously, as you probably know. It's one of the most important geometrical shapes we've got. It is creation. But that's in the central part. So we kind of have the 3 pillar setup, is what they've got, the same as always. So you have your severity, your 666, your mercy, 888, and then your balance in the centre stone, which is the 69 or the 777. Hence the ordered out of chaos, equaling 777 Jewish gematria. It really is a wonderful place. Like, it's, you could spend months in here and probably still not figure it all out. There's some books by a lady named Jackie Quigley that are really interesting. Some of the details she's gone into and some of the symbolism is just incredible. Which leaves it open for people like me to come and do, to put my little touches over the top and see what we can find as well. Which is the whole point, because all together we can find the answers, but we've got to put our heads together and work as one on this one, because it's important times. The entire chapel, of course, it's all just somatic flowers. What is surprising is there's not that much bee symbolism. There's a beehive outside, and it's a beehive that's carved into the outside of the chapel that the bees still use today. But I was thinking with the resonance and the vibration of the bees, that there might be a little bit more. We'll go outside the chapel and have a little look around quick. I think this is the baptistry part that was put in a lot later dates, but as you can tell, it is actually a different colour from the other stones as well. And then they've added a bit of work at the top here, just fixing the place up a little bit. We had workmen here last time I was here, and it was the company was called Eden. It was really fitting for the place. Familiar patterns, you see it always, those Taurus shapes all around. But it's a symbol of creation. These pillars on the outside, it's the ones that really interest me now, because there's 33 of them exactly. And I know when I was at over at the Prime Meridian in Greenwich, you had 33 pillars around that as well. Well, they were little mini obelisks actually. They weren't even pillars. So if you look on the top of the roof here, this is what I'm talking about with the frequencies that you can see. And obviously we know that there's all musical tones inside here. So then patterns along the top are triangle waves. Now I know this is a fact because I've seen this already. One at Newgrange and then at Note. And both of them are showing the same thing. And I know that Sinclair's carrying the diamond is important as well, because that lozenge was also found at Stonehenge. So I'm wondering how far back this family really go. Well, as we know, it's cycle after cycle, so everything's cyclic, goes around, comes around, and it'll come back around again. Said they've got to be for the ascension up the spine. That's all I can think of, really. I mean, even when you go to Edinburgh, you have the big row of steps. I'm sure many of you have been there yourselves and seen it. And you go up the steps right to the top, you get to the pine cone and the sign that says Jacob's Ladder. So we all know the story, we all know what it's about. So I'm thinking that these are probably connected to each bone in the spine, each one. It's just pretty mind-blowing. We spent most of our time yesterday down in the glen. So I'm hoping that we can get in and do some talks anyway. A lot of my research now on the Norsemen and the St. Clairs and everything else is starting to really come together now. It's hence why Rosslyn is starting to finally back me out of all the places. As I said to Christine, out of any place, this is the one that I wanted backing me. This is the one that I needed backing me. So of course everybody comes here for Dan Brown's version of the Da Vinci Code, don't they? But everyone here knows it's a load of bullshit anyway. There's a little beehive still up there. Got a centre one there. It's still a working beehive. This one here, in particular, looks like the buildings you find in China, from the ancient Chinese structures. Or even the Indians, Hindus, etc. This is where they have the whispering door, or whispering arch, whatever it's called. If you whisper in here, it travels all around. Right the way around the arch, and someone puts their ear on this side and they can hear you perfectly, crystal clear. I just thought I'd take the opportunity to talk to you while I could. We had this chapel to ourselves. I think there's a congregation in this morning, so we have to be out by then. Very, very cool place. Looking forward to getting a lot more work done here.